We thought it would be relevant, Huddy, to have a quick look at some of the...
Fishing.
Well, fishing, basically.
Fishing in this beautiful stream.
What we want to have a look at most of all.
I want to go fishing.
To have a look at some of the leisure activities that having a forest industry does afford.
Well, this stream, for example, is in State Forest. And you can come here and you can fish. And access to this stream.
Road in, access, as you say. But fishing, while I would say it's the chiefly important leisure activity that
you're very good at it too. You're a wonderful fisherman.
Particularly a fly fisherman.
Notice we have a fly fishing double for Nick today.
Thank you very much. Yes. There are some other things that you can do if you felt the urge, and we thought we might just have a quick look at those now.
Strangely, not everyone is into fishing, and a pristine mountain stream can mean something other than smoked trout.
Get out there.
Tassie State Forests lend themselves to a host of recreational pursuits, and access is actively encouraged.
Well, State Forest is actually open for various types of recreation. You're allowed to bring your dog into State Forest, you can ride your horse in State Forest, you can ride your push bike in State Forest. There aren't anywhere near the rules and regulations that there are in parks. Obviously, we ask people to respect the forest, to take their rubbish home with them and to leave the place as they find it. But other than that, there are relatively few rules and regulations for recreation in State Forest.
The list of sports and activities that people get up to in the state's forests is as long as your arm, from the relatively passive like bushwalking and photography to more extreme things like rock climbing and mountain biking and orienteering, Nick.
Yes, the network of forestry roads provides that all-important access to areas to suit just about anything.
I mean, it's part of a multiple use philosophy. Forestry is far more than just producing timber. It's about looking after these fantastic forests and really encouraging Tasmanians to recreate in them. I think there's a strong feeling of ownership amongst Tasmanian people, and they consider the forest their backyard, so that's a good thing.
Now, just before you set off on your own forest eco-adventure, a word of warning.
Yes, the network of roads and tracks can be a little bit confusing, especially if you're off the beaten track, so it probably pays to get a bit of a heads up before you go.
Most of the major recreational activity areas are pretty well signposted, and there's good information available at the offices. There's a lot of good brochures. People ought to visit our Forestry Tasmania offices, and they'll be able to get that sort of information, plenty of that sort of information, and help with maps and that sort of thing.
And for those people feeling really adventurous and looking to get a good dose of the great outdoors, how about a crack at a little walking track known as the Tasmanian Trail?
Tasmanian Trail was a follow-on to the Bicentenary Trail on the mainland that runs from the Yorke Peninsula down to Victoria. It's a multiple-use trail, so it's open to horse riders, mountain bike riders and walkers. And it has multiple land tenure, and it runs from Latrobe to Dover, and a lot of it's on State Forest, particularly in this section, and we like to think that they're some of the best bits because it's a very scenic route.
State Forest contains 250 walking tracks covering 600 kilometres.
There are 75 recreation and picnic sites statewide.
Pets are allowed but must be under control, likewise any campfires.
And there's some of the best fishing around. At least there would be if we were doing it.
Have you got one yet?
Still struggling.
Contrary to what most people might think, it's a lot harder to catch fish on TV than it looks.
Yeah.
Pretty good at what we do.
Well, I am.